What if I told you that the number one mistake FSL teachers make is happening in your classroom every single day? It's something that even the most dedicated teachers do, and it's silently putting the brakes on student learning. Okay, let's get right into it. Seriously, think about that for a second. This isn't some obscure pedagogical theory. It's a really common habit, one that feels like you're helping in the moment, but it's actually building a wall between your students and real fluency. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that mistake and give you 3 super practical, classroom-tested hacks to fix it, starting tomorrow. All right, here it is. The number one mistake is simply relying too much on English in our French classrooms. I get it. It feels faster, right? More efficient. But what's really happening is we're training our students to just wait. They wait for the English translation instead of actually trying to wrestle with the French and process it themselves. I mean, just look at the difference here. It's like a tale of 2 classrooms. In one, where we translate everything, students become passive. They're just waiting for that English life raft, and their progress slows way down. But in the other classroom, the one built on comprehensible input, students become active thinkers. They're processing the French directly, and research from places like CASLT shows this builds way more confidence and, you guessed it, much faster progress. And listen, this isn't just a hunch. This is backed by some serious theory. Stephen Krashen's input hypothesis is the bedrock here. It's super clear. We acquire language when we understand messages in that language. It's about making the French understandable, not just translating it into English. So how do we actually break this habit? Well, that brings us to our very first hack. Instead of translating, we need to scaffold, but do it in French. This is all about giving students the support they need to understand while staying completely inside the target language. And here's exactly how you do it. First, use sentence frames. Things like je peux dire or je pense que. They're like training wheels that give students a solid start. Second, if a word or idea is tricky, don't jump to English. Just rephrase it using simpler French. And third, this is the hardest one. You have to actively fight that urge to just translate. It's tough, but so worth it. And this stuff really, really works. I heard from a teacher in Alberta who said that when she stopped translating, her students were a little lost at first. But you know what? Within a couple of weeks, they were answering her back in French without even hesitating. That's a huge win. And again, it's not just feel-good stories. The research is there to back it up. Studies, like this big one from Lister, confirm that recasting, which is just a fancy word for rephrasing in the target language, is a proven way to speed up how quickly our students learn. So let me ask you, what's one sentence starter you could bring into your classroom tomorrow that would get your kids talking? Drop it in the comments below. Let's share some ideas. And hey, if this first hack was helpful, you're definitely going to want to stick around, so make sure you're subscribed. Okay, you ready for hack number 2? This one is all about swapping out spoken English for something way more universal, nonverbal support. The motto here is simple. Show, don't just tell. And you have a whole nonverbal toolkit ready to go. You can point at things, use big gestures, and mime. Don't be shy. Do quick little sketches on the board or use pictures and visual aids. Every gesture, every drawing is a word of English you don't have to speak. I love this quote from an immersion teacher. It just nails it, right? It takes 10 seconds to draw, but it saves me from falling back into English. It is such a small investment of time for such a massive payoff in keeping the classroom immersive. And what's really cool is there's some fascinating brain science that explains why this works so well. It's called Pavlov's dual coding theory. All it means is that our brains are basically hardwired to remember things better when we get information in 2 ways at once, verbally with words and non-verbally with pictures or gestures. It creates a stronger memory. So, I gotta know, what's your go-to move? Do you have a gesture or a quick doodle you always use for a word that trips students up? Share your secrets with the rest of us in the comments. All right, let's get to our third and final hack. This one zooms out from our individual actions and looks at the whole classroom vibe. The goal here is to create a French-only culture where speaking French is just the default. It's the air we breathe in this room, not the exception. You can create what's called a zone français. Put up posters and signs that reinforce it. Come up with a gentle, no-shame hand signal for when somebody slips into English. Start small, with little challenges like, hey, team, let's try for 5 minutes with no English. But the absolute key is to frame it as a fun game, something you're all doing together, not as a strict, scary rule. And check out how powerful this can be. There was a grade 7 class in Ontario that made this a weekly challenge. They started small, but by June, they were able to go for 20 minutes straight of only French interaction. Why? Because it felt like a game they wanted to win. So what do you think? Could a French zone work in your class? Let us know in the poll. Are you a yes, a maybe, or hey, maybe you already do it? Okay, let's bring it all home. We've talked about this big common mistake, but more importantly, we've covered 3 really powerful shifts you can make in your classroom to fix it. So it really all comes down to this. The biggest mistake is leaning too hard on English, but the good news is it's totally avoidable. Just remember your 3 hacks. 1. Scaffold in French, not English. 2. Maximize that nonverbal support. And 3. Work with your students to build a fun, French-only culture. And if this was helpful for you, you are not going to want to miss our next explainer. We're going to be sharing what veteran FSL teachers wish they knew back in their very first year of teaching. It's going to be pure gold. So to make sure you don't miss that, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button, share this with an FSL colleague who'd get it, and most important of all, click subscribe and ring that little bell. And I'll leave you with this last question to think about. Out of these 3 hacks, which is the one you're going to try in your classroom tomorrow? Let's make a change. Thanks so much for watching.